Hello, it's a big tune-up weekend over here.
Pause. It's not really a tune-up. A tune-up is a carryover word from back in the day. With modern electronics, is not really much you're going to tune up. I use it as a generic term to mean changing spark plugs and doing some kind of engine maintenance.
First thing I'll be addressing for the Infiniti M45 is the valve cover gaskets. I buy these from eBay. Victor. Yeah, I usually just go for the Victor brand. Victor VS50444. You can buy them a single, either the right or the left, and I believe the last digit, or maybe an additional digit, is usually L or R. So, yeah, watch out for that. Have a lot of warnings. Get it. We got it, Once I open it, it's mine, Got it. So, there you go. First thing is a valve cover gasket. I'll replace those. Then second thing is the PCV valve. Here it is. And once you'll notice that Nissan, whenever they sell, this one is OEM. I bought this from Nissan. When they sell it to you, they sell it without an O-ring. So remember to get the O-ring. That's the seal. Otherwise, this thing will be puking oil onto your valve covers again. So here's the O-ring, and here are the part numbers. This is the valve cover. This is the PCV valve. It's rather expensive, and here's the O-ring as well. Pretty expensive, but again, how often do you have to do these things anyway, right? Might as well just do it once. You could say that for the valve cover gaskets as well. Then the spark plugs. I'll be doing the spark plugs as well, and here it is. These are OEM Nissan NGK PLF R5A-11, and the OEM part number 22401 5M015. Again, the NGKs, and I buy these from eBay. Yes, it's a gamble as to whether they're going to be proper, but I mean, unless you buy them from Nissan and Infiniti, you're never really sure. By the way, I was keeping my nails for this service, so I knew I'd be using them this weekend. I'll clip my nails, don't you worry. So I knew I'd be doing this work on the car, and yeah, as I said, you either buy them from Nissan or Infiniti directly, or just take a gamble with eBay. And what I'm doing, especially on eBay, is just going by the reputation of the seller. All right, so let's talk about the spark plugs, right? So I've heard some people say that whenever you buy OEM spark plugs, no point in gapping them. I'm from a different school of thought. One, check the gap. You never know who the hell assembled or put it together. And two, why does it hurt to check, right? Why not? Why not just check? So let's talk about this a little bit. So here you go. The OEM spec for these spark plugs is 0.043, which is 1.1 millimeters. So here, let's check this. Can I see that? There you go. Ooh, nice. Okay, so here, brand new spark plug, right? Let's check it. And here, this is what I'm doing. I use this coin style. So slide it in there. Make sure you don't damage your tip, and keep going. Okay, so there's a 0.4. There you go. This one's pretty good, right? And that number is 0.038. That's what this one is, right? It's not really 0.043. Okay, so there's one of them. Slide that off to the side. Grab another one, a random one. Okay, gonna have to replace that one. Grab another one. Okay, 0.042 or 41, whatever it is, right? Grab a third one. All right, this one's pretty good. These ones are kind of where they need to be. All right, this one here, okay? So these are kind of close. Check this one out. Whoa, that one went pretty far, right? 0.048 or something like that. So, as I said, the numbers are pretty, there you go, look at that one. Right, that's a 0.05 over here. So this one's kind of way out there. Why not check your spark plugs? Just check them, gap them. Again, how often do you have to go in there? Plus, in the V8, it's pretty tedious to get to. This one's pretty good. Seems to be where it needs to be. But again, I'm going to check all of them and try to put them all in the same same area, right? Into the same relative numbers. So it's my advice when you're doing your tune-ups, if you call it that, is that you should always check your spark plugs, right? So look at this one. There's a number, barely cracked .04, right? So it's just a good habit to look at this one. This one is almost all the way .05, right? So yeah, my recommendation is always check your spark plugs, and then two, gap them. And when you have 8 of those, look at this one. This one's almost where it needs to be, right? When you have 8 of them, I mean, whatever number you settle on, just gap all of them to the same number. If they're all wrong, so be it. Let them all get to the same number, right? That's my advice. That's how I do it.
After checking the gap, the next stage is going to be to adjust the gap. And I've said my philosophy is to have all of them at the same gap, preferably. So the tool for adjusting the gap is going to be this here. The gap tool, of course, you use it to just check the gap, but you can also use it to adjust. So if you check the gap and you find that the gap between the tip and the electrode to be too large, what you do is you push down on top over here. You push this down to make the gap a little smaller, right? And I use the back side, the smooth side of this gapping tool to do that. On the other hand, if you realize that it is a little too close, likewise, I come here, insert the thinner parts of it like this, if I can do it with one hand, that is, and then just pull it up to make the gap larger, right? I hope that makes sense. It's pretty intuitive. Just be careful that you don't damage the tip down there as you do the adjustments. All right, so the next part of the video is going to be pretty much a whole back and forth. Some of these will move, the electrodes will move rather easily. Some of them would not move at all. Some of them will move too easily. So the next part of the video is just, I'm actually going to speed that up, just showing me making an attempt to adjust one of the spark plugs. After that, I'm going to go ahead and just repeat it for all the other spark plugs. Here's an example of one of those spark plugs. This one is larger, but typically it involves making an adjustment, checking the gap, adjust it again, check the gap. I might be going off camera just because I need to squeeze it with a lot of leverage.
This one's really hard. It's barely moving. But we'll get it. We'll get it. They always work.
Okay, so back to squeezing it down, back to trying to squeeze it, lessen the gap, which happens to be off camera, but I'll be back to explain what I'm doing, like now.
Then there you go. Suddenly it's too tight. It's at 0.037. So now I have to go the other way, pull it up to expand it a little bit, to open up the gap.
Okay, now I have to open up the gap, so I'm pulling up at it, and then we'll have to check it again, see where that number has come up to be.
We get in there.
Pull it up again, and keep checking.
It's almost at 0.04.
Okay, so I'll keep pulling at it, and pretty soon I think I will end up exceeding it. So pull, check, pull, check, pull, check.
So close right now, so close. One thing you have to consider with these wires, or with these tips, is that there's a thing called cold working. You know, like when you try to break a wire hanger or something, the more you bend it, the harder it is to actually break it or to bend it. So that's kind of what's happening here as well. So it gets tougher, it gets a little interesting to get it to right where it needs to be. Yeah, 0.001 is what I'm trying to move it right now, and it gets a little tricky. There, finally. This one is exactly where I want it to be. There you go. 0.0403. well, 0.043, my bad, 0.043. So that's, you know, an approximation, but I'll keep at it. And what I'm going to do is make all the other ones get to the same point, so that, you know, at least your engine is not working too hard at guessing what the gapping is, right? So wash, rinse, repeat. I'm going to do this 8 more times, and well, 7 more times, and then we're going to install them in the car. Oh, by the way, I just recently bought these. I should have talked about that. It's a spark plug socket kit from AutoZone. I buy most of my consumables from AutoZone just because, you know, you get those points. And I've been working on so many cars, motorcycles, and all that at some point, you know, I've gained quite a lot of points, quite a lot of rewards from the points program. Perfect, there you go. And I like that these are magnetic. My first one, I lost my rubber bung somewhere, the rubber O-ring that's usually in there that holds your spark plugs. I like the magnetic one, you know. It holds them, right? Then, oh, there you go. On the way in, I mean, as I said, it's still being held by the magnetic one, and you can just thread them in. And once, you know, the strength of the threaded portion is stronger than the magnet, you can just pull it out. Not a big problem, right? So, yeah, just something else that helps the job go well. And this one right here uses a 5/8. It says 5/8 over there, but 16 millimeter is what it is. It's just that most times the sockets you actually have in your toolbox are too thick over here. This one's a thin wall spark plug kit. That's what makes it a spark plug socket. Most sockets you get, depending on where you buy them, they'll actually be really thick on the wall. Then they can't go into the spark plug tube in the car, right? Okay. Well, as I said, I'm gonna keep gapping, and we'll talk later. Here it is. NGK PLF RF. Nope. NGK PLF. It's a tongue twister. Let's do this again.